Hello everyone, today we are diving into one of the most crucial and high scoring sections of CAT, that is RC. It is not about reading, it's about understanding, analyzing and interpreting information speedily and accurately. Today, the main purpose of this session is to explore strategies to improve reading speed and to identify the central idea and the tone of the passage. But most of the time students they come to me and they actually crib over that ma'am हमसे हो नहीं पा रहा है, we are not able to make it, हमसे accuracy नहीं आ रही है, reading नहीं बन रहा है, understanding proper नहीं हो रही है, and ultimately what happened, they give up. The only thing which I tell them is do not run away from English language, because if you run away from English language, do not worry, it is chasing you. And for how long you are going to run away? Because reading comprehension is something that you have to crack it by hook or by crook, no matter what. तो आप रीडिंग से इतना भाग कर रहे हो, डू नॉट मेक इट एन एनिमी, मेक it a friend and conquer it, and we together will make it happen. So let's get started. This passage is on digital distraction, which is a very relatable topic, and trust me, when you will read this passage you are going to have a fun. Now let's get started, but before you start reading, let me tell you one thing, that you have to focus more on scanning and skimming. What is scanning? In scanning, you have to underline the key idea just to get the gist of the paragraph. And skimming, if you feel an example is there, or maybe some justification is there of the main idea, you can easily skim that paragraph in order to get the key information. So let me start reading this paragraph. In the modern age, the ability to concentrate for extended periods is increasingly under siege. With the proliferation of digital distractions, the human mind is constantly being pulled in multiple directions. Now, what is the meaning of proliferation over here? It's a rapid increase. Rapid increase of what? Rapid increase of digital distractions. यहाँ पे इसका मीनिंग क्या है? बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन जो हमारे सामने आती रहती है वो हमें काफी इंटरप्ट करती है, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट एबल टू फोकस ऑन वन सिंगल कंटेंट, और हम उसको बिना पढ़े आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. Researchers argue, if argue word is there, that is something that you really need to drive home, that our attention spans are shrinking, it is weakening, not necessarily because of an inherent cognitive decline. What is the meaning of cognitive decline? Cognitive means related to your brain. तो हमारा जो फोकस है जो श्रिंक हो रहा है वो इस वजह से नहीं है कि हमारा ब्रेन वीक पड़ रहा है, बट बिकॉज ऑफ द incessant demands of the digital world. तो जिस तरह से इंफॉर्मेशन हम पर अटैक कर रही है, बहुत सारी एक साथ इंफॉर्मेशन अटैक कर रही है, उस वजह से हमारा फोकस कम होता जा रहा है. सो बेटा हियर यू हैव टू एम्फसाइज ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग, नॉट ओनली बट ऑल्सो. सो नॉट ओनली वाला पार्ट इज एक्चुअली इंपॉर्टेंट, बट ऑल्सो के बाद जो आपका स्टेटमेंट आ रहा है दैट इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हाई? बिकॉज दैट कैन बी अ क्वेश्चन पॉकेट, और मे बी दैट कैन बी वन ऑफ द आंसर चॉइसेस ऑल्सो, राइट? Social media, instant messaging, and culture of immediacy have fostered an environment where deep, uninterrupted thought is rare. इस लाइन में सिंपल ऑथर ये बोलना चाह रहा है कि जिस तरह से हमारा कल्चर ऑफ इमीडिएसी हो रहा है. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ कल्चर ऑफ इमीडिएसी? मैसेज आ रहे हैं, हमें इमीडिएटली मैसेज करना है, कुछ भी कंटेंट आ रहा है हमें इसको इमीडिएटली पढ़ना है. मतलब हमारा जो पेशेंस है वो बहुत ज्यादा कम होता जा रहा है, और हमें इमीडिएटली एक के बाद एक चीज करती जानी. इस वजह से क्या हो रहा है कि हमारा जो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है वो वन पर्टिकुलर कंटेंट पे नहीं रहकर, उसको अच्छे से नहीं पढ़कर, वो डिफरेंट डायरेक्शंस में जाता जा रहा है, राइट? सो हियर द एंटायर समरी ऑफ दिस पैराग्राफ कैन बी weak attention span because of digital distraction, right? Now let us move on to the second paragraph. Historically, great thinkers relied on prolonged solitude to develop their ideas. Charles Darwin, for example. Now here you can see that, for instance, it's an example. So if you want, if you are reading any CAT RC, you can easily skim this paragraph, because I know that this paragraph is full of example. All right, but let me read it for you as we are practicing normal passage. For instance, spent hours walking through the woods, allowing his thoughts to coalesce with interruption. What is the meaning of coalesce? Coalesce means to merge. Similarly means it is in combination with the previous example. Virginia Woolf emphasized the importance of having a room of one's own to cultivate creativity. Now, beta, here you can see the transition word however, which is really very, very important. Whenever transition word is there, you need to focus on the statement given after that transition word. So here it should sharpen your fangs कि अगर however है, it means it's a contrast. Contrast means negative, positive और maybe positive और negative. तो अगर आप पिछले वाला स्टेटमेंट देखते हैं तो वहां पर वो अटरली पॉजिटिव है क्योंकि वहां पर उसने 2 एग्जांपल्स दिए हैं ऑफ चार्ल्स डार्विन एंड वुल्फ और वहां पर वो इंपॉर्टेंस बता रहा है ऑफ बीइंग इन सॉलिट्यूड, राइट? तो सॉलिट्यूड का मतलब क्या होता है? सपोज इफ यू वांट टू रीड समथिंग रियली इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग, सो आप चाहते हैं कि आप अकेले में रहें, आपको एक पीस चाहिए, आपको कामनेस चाहिए, तो देयर सॉलिट्यूड प्लेज अ मेजर रोल बिकॉज आपको एक सेरेनिटी चाहिए, ट्रैंक्विलिटी चाहिए, आपको कुछ भी डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं चाहिए होता है. तो अब हाउएवर की बात हम जो स्टेटमेंट पढ़ने जा रहे हैं, इन टुडेज हाइपर कनेक्टेड वर्ल्ड, हाइपर कनेक्टेड वर्ल्ड का मतलब होता है वी आर इन कनेक्शन विद सो मेनी पीपल वर्चुअली, राइट? सॉलिट्यूड इज ऑफन कॉन्फ्लैक्टेड विद लोनलीनेस. सच अ ब्यूटीफुल स्टेटमेंट. अब आप ये समझ रहे होंगे यहाँ पर कि सॉलिट्यूड एंड लोनलीनेस सेम टर्म है, बट एक्चुअली दीज आर नॉट दी सेम टर्म. बेसिकली सॉलिट्यूड मैंने आपको बताया था, आप कुछ भी प्रोडक्टिव काम कर रहे हो तो रियली यू वांट टू बी इन सॉलिट्यूड. बट लोनलीनेस का मीनिंग यहाँ पे क्या हो जाता है? वैसे तो आप डिजिटल वर्ल्ड से बहुत ज्यादा कनेक्टेड हो और आपको लग रहा है कि वहां पर आप अकेले हैं, बट बेसिकली दैट इज नॉट सॉलिट्यूड, दैट इज एन आइसोलेशन, दैट इज लोनलीनेस, जहां पर आप अपने आप को अकेला फील करते हैं. सो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज सेइंग अस दैट बीइंग अलोन इज ऑफन mistaken for being lonely. So there is a very thin line between the two terms. And the ability to sit quietly with one's thought is increasingly perceived as an anomaly. Anomaly का मतलब यहाँ पर क्या होता है? There is a irregularity, something which is uncommon, something which is unusual. तो पहले जहाँ हम solitude चाहते थे, अब उसी solitude को हमने mistake कर दिया है किस word से? Loneliness से, right? Now, this is the third paragraph, and the moment you see the word consequences, तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि that in this paragraph the author is talking about the effects of digital distractions, right? The consequences of this shift are profound. Profound means what? It's dense. Profound here means far-reaching. The capacity for deep work, an essential skill in creative and intellectual endeavors. बेटा आप देख सकते हो कि इस स्टेटमेंट को हमने सेग्रीगेट कर रखा है with the help of hyphen. It means you need not waste your time reading this particular statement. You can simply read this part this way. The capacity for deep work is being eroded. मतलब जो हमारा ability है कॉन्सेंट्रेट करने का, वो धीरे धीरे क्या होता जा रहा है? वीक होता जा रहा है. इरोडेड मीन इट इज वीकनिंग. द न्यूरोसाइंटिस्ट डेनियल लेविटिन एक्सप्लेन्स दैट द ब्रेन्स प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स व्हिच गवर्न्स फोकस एंड डिसीजन मेकिंग. अभी आपको ऐसा लग रहा है यहाँ पर कि प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स इज समथिंग which is not a familiar word with so many people because normally it's a biological term, it's a scientific term. तो बेसिकली ये होता क्या है? सो डू नॉट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर वर्ड, बट जैसे कि आप आगे बढ़ोगे तो आप खुद देखेंगे which governs focus and decision making. It means this is a trait of a good author कि अगर वो आपको कुछ भी unfamiliar word दे रहा है तो definitely he is going to give the explanation of that particular word. तो इस लाइन से मुझे समझ में आ गया है कि प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स अ काइंड ऑफ ब्रेन है जो हमको फोकस और डिसीजन मेकिंग को क्या करता है? गवर्न करता है. Is particularly susceptible to overload when bombarded with stimuli. तो बेसिकली हमारा जो ब्रेन है ना, इट इज सराउंडेड विद सो मेनी इंफॉर्मेशन कि वहां पर वो उसको क्लटर करते जा रहा है, एंड एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ विच वी आर नॉट एबल टू फोकस प्रॉपर्ली. This cognitive overload leads to a decrease in both productivity and creativity. Of course, because अगर हम अच्छे से concentrate नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो उसकी वजह से ये किसको impact कर रहा है? हमारी productivity को और creativity को. As individuals struggle to filter out distractions and engage in sustained thinking. हम बहुत कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हम इससे बाहर आए, but actually we are not able to come out of it. Moreover, again, as you can see, this is moreover, it means it is a continuation of the previous paragraph. So this paragraph and this paragraph, these are the effects of digital distractions. Okay. So again, if you are reading any CAT RC, you can always skim this paragraph, because if there is going to be a question, what are the impacts of digital distraction, so definitely वो आपको थर्ड पैराग्राफ में से और फोर्थ पैराग्राफ में से वो आपको ऑप्शंस बना के देगा. So if there is going to be a question, I will come back to the paragraph and read it very carefully. अगर question नहीं होगा तो I am going to skim it. But again, I am going to read it completely for you. Moreover, the nature of information consumption has changed dramatically. The philosopher Nicholas Carr, in his book The Shallows, argues. अब बेटा जो ये word है, the name of the author in his book, ये आपको ज्यादा कॉन्सिडर करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर आप चाहते हैं तो इसको जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ सकते हैं. Like the philosopher Nicholas, this is how you can go for. Argues that the internet encourages a form of shallow reading wherein individuals skim rather than engage deeply with text. तो इन्फॉर्मेशन इतनी ज्यादा हो रही है कि हम उसको स्किम करते हैं, हम उसको जल्दी जल्दी रीड करते हैं विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द एक्चुअल कंटेंट, व्हिच इज एक्चुअली नॉट गुड. This shift has implications beyond mere comprehension. Another thing, that without understanding the thing, we move on to the another content without understanding the previous one. It affects our ability to analyze and synthesize information effectively. और उसकी वजह से होता क्या है कि हम प्रॉपर्ली सारे आइडियाज को एक साथ रख नहीं पाते क्योंकि हम जल्दी जल्दी उसको पढ़ रहे हैं. दिस इज अगेन वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ डिजिटल डिस्ट्रैक्शंस. Studies have shown that people who frequently engage in multitasking exhibit reduced ability to focus on a single task even when they attempt to do so deliberately. Again, the same point, author वही बात हमको बोल रहा है कि जब हम एक साथ, when we read so many things at a time, we are not able to focus on one particular thing, as a result of which we are not able to understand anything, though we try a lot to understand, but ultimately we are not. All right. So let us move on to the next slide. Now, nevertheless, what is the meaning of nevertheless? Nevertheless means in spite of this. Okay, there are ways to reclaim our capacity for deep thought. Simply by reading this particular line, I can figure it out कि पहले के उसके 2 paragraphs में author talked about the impacts of digital distractions, but अब वो यहाँ पर हमको बोल रहा है that how we can reclaim that capacity of focusing deeply and concentrating beautifully on the content. So basically, I can say that these are the solutions or the recommendations of the author. Again, here I would like to say one thing, that if the author has given problem, so problem was given in the first paragraph, definitely author is going to come up with the solution to that particular problem also. And again, these are the question pockets. Okay, so when problem is there, solution is there, you have to read them very, very carefully in order to go for the central idea question. Experts advocate for intentional disengagement from digital devices, a practice known as digital detox. Beta, as you can see, digital detox is given in air brackets. It is going to be a question pocket for you. Okay, क्योंकि authors को highlight करना चाह रहा है. So what is the meaning of detox? अगर हम detox का meaning देखें तो उसका meaning क्या होता है? The meaning of detox is the process of eliminating toxins or harmful substances from your body. तो यहाँ पर उसने word दिया है digital detox. इसका मतलब if we want to overcome the problem of concentration, we are not able to concentrate on one content properly. It means we need to detox ourselves from this digital world. इसका मतलब we need to take a break. Okay, हमें ज्यादा स्क्रीन पर नहीं रहना है, हमें ज्यादा व्हाट्सएप पे नहीं रहना है, और हमें उसके लिए ब्रेक चाहिए होता है ताकि हम वापस से अपनी उसी क्रिएटिविटी और उसी आइडिया की तरफ चले जाएं. Setting aside specific periods for uninterrupted work, engaging in mindfulness practices and cultivating habits such as reading long-form literature can help rewire the brain for sustained attention. So first उसने हमको क्या solution दिया? That we need to go for the digital detox. Secondly, वो हमको क्या बोल रहा है? Practicing mindfulness, right? और third हमें वो क्या बोल रहा है? That we have to go for long-term literature. Some researchers suggest, now again it's a suggestion, that nature exposure also plays a critical role in restoring cognitive functions, as evidenced by studies showing that even brief interactions with natural environments improve focus and mental clarity. So, in short, we can say that another suggestion point over here is that we should always try to be in the lap of the nature. हमें नेचर से फ्रेंडशिप करनी चाहिए और नेचर में ज़्यादा हमें अपना टाइम स्पेंड करना चाहिए सो दैट our creativity can come out. We can come out with new ideas and with new thoughts. So basically, this entire paragraph is talking about the solution and the recommendation. As society grapples with the challenges posed by an attention fragmented world, as this is the last paragraph of this passage, so it is basically a conclusion. Individuals must take conscious steps to reclaim their cognitive autonomy. Cognitive autonomy का मतलब यहाँ पर हो रहा है cognitive मतलब your brain, your insight, your memory, and autonomy means when you are being independent. तो आपको जरूरत नहीं है कि डिजिटल वर्ल्ड आपको डोमिनेट कर रहा है. नो, you have your own thought process, you have your own idea, own creativity. So you just have to focus more on that, and that you can do only when you take a break from this digital world. The ability to engage in deep, meaningful thought remains one of the hallmarks of human intelligence. So I think it's just a repetition कि हमें हमेशा meaningful thoughts, meaningful ideas की तरफ जाना चाहिए. While technological advancements have reshaped how we process information, they need not dictate the limits of our cognitive capacities. Okay. So now this line is telling us that indeed technology has dominated our life. Okay, हम बहुत ज़्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी पे डिपेंड हो चुके हैं, but then we should not forget that we have our own independent ideas, own independent thoughts. तो टेक्नोलॉजी के हमारे थॉट प्रोसेस को लिमिट नहीं करना चाहिए या हमें लिमिट नहीं हो जाना चाहिए. By fostering intentional habits, we can preserve the art of concentration and in turn safeguard the richness of intellectual and creative pursuit. So I think this statement again is telling the same thing. अब हमें करना क्या है यहाँ पर? Let us go for the mind mapping. First paragraph talks about the problem. Second paragraph is a comparison point, okay, between the people who wanted to have solitude and in today's contemplative world where people, they are mistaking solitude for loneliness. Third and the fourth paragraph, they are talking about the impacts of digital distraction, and the fifth and the sixth paragraph, they are talking about the solutions. I hope you understood the passage clearly. So let us discuss the question. A question is on central idea. All right. Here I have written a para-wise summary for you. So if you want, you can take the screenshot of this. Okay, so after reading and understanding the passage, let us go for the tone of the passage. Here the meaning of tone is with what emotion or feelings the author has written the passage. In the first paragraph, author has given us the problem, and in the last two paragraphs, he has given us the recommendation. He has given us the solutions. तो अगर उसने प्रॉब्लम को शो किया है तो obviously he must be worried about that thing, and for that reason he has given us the solution. So here I can say that the tone of this passage is concerned. Right? Now let us move on to the central idea question. In order to go for the right answer to the central idea question, you need to read the first and the last paragraph of passage and the first and the last line of each paragraph. And then you also have to go for the main subject the author is talking about. So in today's passage, the author is talking about digital distractions, which is the main subject. So digital distractions is given in all the four answer choices. It means main subject is given. So on what basis should I eliminate the wrong answer? I have to go for some other red flags. Let us see now. Digital distractions are reducing defocus, okay, which is given over there in the paragraph, which is a problem. But intentional habits can help restore attention and cognitive clarity, which is a solution. So if in any passage problem and solutions are given in central idea question, then you have to see that your answer should have both the things, problem also and solution also. So this answer choice appears appealing to me, but I'm going to keep it aside. But then let us check it out rest three options also. Technology is making people less intelligent. It is a comparison point. And the moment I read this part of the statement, I can figure it out that obviously this is a red flag, because in the passage nowhere we are talking about the comparison related to that we are making the people less intelligent. Incapable of deep thinking, so doesn't make any sense, okay, because here only I can say that the answer is wrong. Throughout history, people have always struggled with attentive issues, and digital distractions are no different. But again, always is an extreme word. So whenever extreme words are given in your answer choice, that cannot be your answer until that particular word is given in the passage. But in the passage, the word always was not given, right? So this is eliminated. Fourth option, digital distraction shrink attention span. It is correct, but spending time in nature is the only way to improve focus and restore cognitive functions. As you can see in this statement, the author has given the problem, the author has given the solution. It is correct. It appears very tempting also, but here you can see the author has given the word only. To be with nature is one of the solutions, but is not the only solution. So again, it is an extreme word. So again, I can eliminate this option. So I'm left with option 1, which is the best answer choice.